ABBA, and URIEL, angel of the presence, angel of your presence. December 6, 2018. ABBA resounds again in the hearts of all. And so we can continue what we have to exchange, to resonate together. And please express what you think is right to express at this moment. I simply ask you not to restrict or limit yourselves, and simply let whatever comes out of you express itself freely. Silence. I also want to point out that in these moments of silence as now, the resonance of the heart is established spontaneously, without asking for anything and without waiting, covering some of you, here as everywhere, these last elements that some of you have expressed in relation to a form of anxiety. But as you express it perfectly, joy covers all that. In this respect, a face-to-face celebration is already being held for those who have expressed it here. Joy, as the hours and days pass, will grow in each of you in a natural and simple way. For when I express myself and when you also express yourself, the intelligence of the light immediately places us, whatever your words may be, in the evidence of this resonance. This process, as I have said, is inevitable. It will come true, and it is already happening, as I said at the end of October. What is happening, here and everywhere, is totally in line with what I said a few weeks ago. It is in this sense that I keep telling you to let this spontaneity of silence or expression take place. Do not hold anything back, let what should be expressed, without deviating. And without fear. Because as soon as you express the slightest fear, the resonance of the heart will calm down, more and more. With evidence and firmness. Of course, for those who perceive the energy or vibration, this can be accompanied, now and later, by mechanisms of perception at the level of the body, in a privileged way at the level of the whole rib cage, of the whole head, of the sacrum and also of the feet, thus demonstrating to those who perceive it that everything you express, of whatever nature, led safely to the evidence of the heart. Do not be alarmed by feelings of heat or consumption, or even by the feeling of being compressed, of being inside your chest in a structure that is too small. This is an integral part of the ongoing process. This perception is by no means obligatory. It is in this sense that they are asked to be spontaneous there as well and not to relate these feelings, these perceptions to a physical problem of any kind, but much more there as well, to embrace them. On the other side of what one feels, there is pure and naked joy. Whatever your mind tells you, whatever your concern tells you, joy will prevail and take the whole place. Not tomorrow, not later, but now, if you wish. In fact, you're only welcoming yourself, welcoming ABBA, who you are. This is to be lived, because it is the experience that allows you to understand, and never your head, and never the energetic or vibratory perception. Because Agape is beyond any process of consciousness, and obviously independent of any perception, whether energetic, vibratory or otherwise. The important thing is not there. The important thing is to see this joy as you have expressed it, or this peace, something different. And it is this difference that, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, it will be permanently established and it will become permanent, so that you can never again be abused by the constituent elements of your history as of any history, as of your mind, and therefore also of your own perception. This is true freedom. You are free when you are not dependent on yourself as a person, nor on a savior, nor on any teacher. Because you are the master of what you are. No one can tell you, no teacher can make you live it. To live it, you only have to accept it. And that is all. This is what you are beginning to experience, what some of you have already experienced for many weeks and what countless brothers and sisters are beginning to experience. It is in this sense that your testimonies, your words, your expressions, are much more resonant than my own words. And this is not for you, but for all those who are listening, either directly or later. For what you emit in witnessing to this peace or joy, however intense, literally creates this truth within this world. Thus, what some time ago was called the sacred feminine, conscious co-creation, is only the realization of what was called the Paraclete or the Holy Spirit, in you. As you acclimatize, from hour to hour, in this peace, in this unknown that explodes, the more you will embrace and see for yourself that this peace, this joy and finally this ecstasy and this beatitude occupy all the space, but also all the moments of your life. Remember, you become life, and that is what the event is for you. And this is what comes closer and closer to the moment of the collective event. As I said, it is automatic. At this level you have nothing to do, and I repeat, simply embrace, and the truth will be there. And it will put an end to all suffering and questions. And that's what makes you free. This is what makes you recover what you have always been and will never disappear. We're here in the direct effect of the Agape, which does not need mind, which even eventually does not need energies or vibrations, because it is no longer an expansion of consciousness here, but real and concrete of the end of consciousness, the end of the dream, and the entry on the same level and with all the heart into the joy of truth. You have nothing more to do about it. This does not exempt you in any way from respecting your body, your life, and everyone. It is not you who do the work, your only work is to stop working in relation to it. Work is hard work, it's an effort. Light cannot be an effort. I said it, I repeat it, it is evident, it is joy, it is Agape. Silence. This is what you are called to, all of you without exception, not only in this assembly, but of the whole world. I confirm again to you that the more visible the chaos of the world, the greater will be the joy in which you will find yourselves. Joy is not the consequence of chaos, it is simply the result, and the result of the discovery of truth. Truth is joy. There is, then, I repeat in another way, as a form of simultaneity between simulacrum and right, between that which is false and that which is the only truth. Truth cannot be told, it can only be lived and translated by the resonance of the heart, by ABBA. But not the ABBA that speaks, but the ABBA that we are in each other. If you accept this principle, this operative mechanism, it cannot fail. You will only notice, as I announced, that this joy takes everything. You have nothing to do, you just have to be present, for this presence to show you the truth, which is absence, being and non-being, ephemeral and eternal. And everyone, no matter where they start, if they think they are too far away or too close to it, makes no difference. May this peace take hold of everything. You can only see that what may remain as anxiety are simply the last outbursts of what is only passing through your body, your life, and this world. Joy is self-sufficient. I have always told you that it does not need a body, a shape, or dimensions. So much so that those of us who have already torn the last veil between us can no longer be disturbed by this truth. Whatever the difficulties of your life, life has taken hold of you. There is no choice, because the time has come. With each step you take toward the heart of heart, the light makes 10 steps into your heart. And remember that even if worry seems to take over, ancestry, you will very quickly see that this is not true, that you are only joy and that you are nothing of what you think you are living in this world. When you experience this, everything is accomplished for you, in fact. The event has already taken place, you simply have to let this joy cultivate itself. This was called elsewhere and in particular by the stars, the consummation of love. That's exactly what you're going through. That is why you have had so much information and teachings about what the stars experienced when they were. Silence. I'll let you two talk. If you want to remain in this silence, which seems to be the case, then ABBA will let URIEL's poetry be expressed. Silence. In the time and space you experience, in resonance with the heart, love carries you. Not to steal anything, but to surrender to what you are. The game of being and non-being is imprinted on the human being. The game of life ends with all experiences. Because at that moment, in fact, the way, the truth and the life, become the evidence of your silence. And silence is the door of abundance, and silence is the antechamber of truth. Then let this smile bloom on your lips, as in the intimacy of your heart. In this way, you will be in resonance between what remains of the person and the truth, completing the process of consuming yourself in joy and happiness. Then, beloved, listen and listen to what the song of truth whispers to you, the song of liberty, which is only a song of praise, where the choir of angels gathers to raise what you are as close as possible to the throne of the heavenly Jerusalem. Joy awaits you, putting an end to all your sorrows, to all that seems to you to impede the fullness of joy. So, By surrendering yourself to this stranger who is you, there is immediately the reward of peace and joy that is due to you. It is now, it is in every moment, it is in every glance, as in every heartbeat, as in every glance, from within and from without, where there is no need to have any vision, to be guided by any point of reference, because everything is naked, and in this nakedness, in fact, is the totality of all that makes you what you are. You know, there are worlds, universes within you. The Savior is also in you, reveal it, so that you understand, in a great explosion of laughter, that there is no need to be saved, because in the end you never got lost, you simply forgot yourself. And the time of oblivion ends, in the emptiness of your presence and in the truth of your smile. Everything else is irrelevant and just passing through. But you will never pass, because you never moved. From all eternity, you're already perfect. And you can't perfect anything, because the spirit that you are has always been perfect and has never moved. That's what you forgot. And it is the reparation of this forgetfulness that puts an end to all suffering and makes you lucid and, above all, true. So, my friend, my beloved, remember that there is nothing to remember. Just remember that there is nothing to beg for. Because that's what you are. So don't put any distance or candles against what you think you've lost. Lost that you express in this world through all your searches, all your experiences, all your disappointments and all your ephemeral joys. The human being seeks in the relationship the resonance of the heart. But the resonance of the heart is not a relationship. At the limit, it could be communion, a perpetual communion, renewed with every breath, with every awakening in the morning and at every moment to fall asleep at night, before brother or sister, coming to erase any judgment and any difference, despite appearances of form, despite appearances of opening and closing, and then giving you to live that all this is really just a game, a theater screen or a smoke screen. But its essence is pure. The consumption of illusion does not produce smoke. It simply produces pure light. And in this, you are completely. And in this, you find every fragment of yourself, in every incarnate brother and sister, in every archangel, in every one of the peoples of the Confederation. Then, my friend, my beloved, how can you be afraid and even worry about what you have anxiously searched for by all possible means? Today, it is offered on a platter for you. The present may seem so vast and infinite that only from there can concerns or questions arise. They cannot come from who you are. They only come from what you can still believe and what you have not experienced. Silence. Agape invites you to freedom, to every look, to every breath, to every minute of your earthly time. Do not worry about the reactions of those who perceive through this revelation the injustice and falsehood of this world. They are also liberated in this way, through this violence that rejects structures and rules imposed from outside, imposed by conditioning, imposed by habits and imposed by depredation. You find yourself, whether you like it or not, and it can be in apprehension, in fact, a total freedom. And it is so vast and at the same time so vast that the concern only comes from this confrontation between nothingness and everything, this face-to-face confrontation between the ephemeral and the eternal. That is ending and that you are living now. I am not asking you to trust yourselves, history, your energies, but simply your heart. This is how you show yourself the truth of love. There is no one else. Everything else is just relative truths that depend only on your point of view. Agape does not depend on one point of view, because Agape is present everywhere on earth and even what could be opposed in you and in society, in any part of the world you look at, is only the solution and resolution of this last and only truth. Behind chaos there is no order as some on this earth proclaim. Behind chaos and during chaos, there is only joy. And he who lives joy, and you are all called to live this joy, can no longer be subject to any form, to any world, not even to his own consciousness. So is beatitude. And I challenge anyone who lives a part of this beatitude to want something more than just to be. And I challenge any consciousness touched by the beatitude to resist or to oppose. Consciousness can only disappear in the face of truth and beauty, which needs no frame, rule or order. Because love is perfection, there can be no disorder, and it is precisely this love that puts an end to decoration. This scenario that you enjoyed so much or hated so much, now makes no sense. Because you always understand when you live it, that all this is not true and that the only thing that is true is this beatitude. Thus you will be able to say, like some stars in his life, what I am was there before was born, and what I am will never disappear, and especially to the disappearance of the body, as well as to the disappearance of the world. All that will remain is the beatitude that you are. And I challenge you, whoever you are today, to think that you can live this beatitude and then return to the game of consciousness. The one who lives the beatitude, and the human collective will live it in the collective moment that is already knocking on his door, will not be able to leave any conscience. Because beatitude gives you no other choice. Because it is the evidence of the truth. And this happens within humanity, through illusion. This is how your matter is spiritualized and dissolved in this beatitude. Silence. So, my friend, my beloved, listen well to what is happening beyond words in the language or in your language. Go beyond what the words say, go beyond what the vibration brings to you, and just sit there, because you're at home. And that's why, in fact, by joining me, you join yourself. You're nobody. I can only be you, for everyone. So says URIEL, so can do the source, and so says ABBA. But you can also say it today. For if this is not yet true, today, it will be so at the next moment. Manifest your sacred feminine in this way. Thus it manifests the ineffable of the self and the non-being. You do not need words, you need the smile on your lips and in your eyes that reflects the smile in your heart. Everything else is just passing through. The one who lives the bliss is in resonance with others on the planet, known or unknown. The adamantine light, as you know, is everywhere. Inside and out. And this is the revelation that ends in apotheosis, beatitude, and a great burst of laughter. And there you are. If you embrace. But they must already be embraced. Without judgment and without the search for reason, without the search for causality. Because light is never cause. She is what she is. And it is the illusion itself that dissolves in the face of this. The same is true for the consciousness, the same is true for her body. It is the same for the earth, it is the same for all creation. The initial moment of creation is nothing more than the final moment. You're the alpha and the omega, the alpha becomes the omega and the omega becomes the alpha. So there is no need to go in circles anymore, there is no need for the experience of any consciousness at all. Only the Agape remains. And who wants to leave the Agape once installed? Consciousness melts with delight and is absorbed by bliss. This is your apotheosis, in a way a culminating achievement, in a way a celebration, a gift of total love that does not bother with any decoration. And there, all of you, without exception, recognize this truth that can leave no doubt, that burns and that will burn all questions, all worries. Because the smile will also be in your head, because the smile will be permanent. If your body is surrendered to the flames, if your body is cut into pieces, it does not matter. You'll still be here. This is true freedom. This is the only truth. Everything else will be consumed by love, in a great burst of laughter, in a great silence, and in the evidence of the heart. Silence. So everything will be achieved, because in the end there was nothing to achieve. Because perfection is inherent in creation, and because this dream perfection that allowed love to experience itself in any dimension, as close to home as possible, as here on this earth, ending and abolishing all distance, where you are today, for everyone, is exactly what you need to live in Agape. All you have to do is accept it, and that's it. And it can never fail. Because they are countless to live it, because they are countless to declaim it, to sing it, to write it, to compose it with music, with drawings, with poems, but also, simply because of your human presence every minute. That's how you discover yourself, and that's the only way you can be real. So I can only invite you to this round of love, I can only invite you to forget yourself and merge into the other, not to lose yourself, but to find yourself. Each is in the other. Every world is in every world. Until the moment when you perceive this unity by living it, which naturally leads you to the consummation of love and the absolute, right here, right now. Be simple because love is very simple. Be humble because love is humble, being the greatest force that can exist in any world, even here on earth. Love is freedom, agape is a gift, and agape satisfies you beyond all your expectations and puts an end to all your fears. So don't be afraid because you are love. You cannot be afraid. You may be afraid. You cannot have love, you are love. Fear is therefore, it is about having it. Love has to do with the self and the non-being. Fear is having it. Love is freedom. And you can have nothing in love. Because nothing is yours. Because everything is free and you are that freedom. It is in this sense that the commander and many voices have told you fear or love. And even today, if for some of you this fear and this love seem superimposed, it is nothing. Fear cannot be maintained as joy unfolds, for everyone and for the collective. And the events of the next few days, that is, today, what you call December 6th, and even before what you called Christmas, will lead you to this one total joy. You have no choice. You never had a choice. Because choice is an illusion. Because free will is not freedom. For no duality can lead you to oneness, and oneness is the step that leads you to the absolute. This will be experienced more and more each day, both collectively and individually. This is neither prediction, nor a prophecy, but simply evidence of what is happening. And even if you don't live it today, be assured that the more time passes, the more it will break into your life in an increasingly evident and, I would say, strong and powerful way. Silence. The last passage has been lived. Even if you are not yet aware of it. This is becoming clearer every day. And everything converges towards this collective awakening. Which is now. Silence. Thus, in what is there, in the timeless moment of the present instant, is truth. But it is also where you stand and forgot it. There is nothing to judge, no causality to seek. Because the joy that is installed is far superior to anything that occurs to you and is much earlier than any other person. And each one of us is that, one in the other. So, at one point, ABBA said to you, I see you, you see me. So today, what has been seen will be said in the following way. I live you because you live me. It is not about empathy, it is not about compassion, it is not about service, but about the one truth. Christ said to you, what you do to the least of you, you do to me. And today I tell you, what you do to the least is to yourself. Seeing this and living this, there is no other possibility than naked joy and agape. Absolutely everything else will burn in a great fire of joy. Christ had said you are in this world, but you are not of this world. And I, URIEL, through the voice of ABBA, say to you, you are not of this world, nor of any other. There are indeed innumerable dwellings, innumerable worlds, but you are prior to all the world. And you are prior to your consciousness. You are simply agape. And it is given to you today, in these times of apotheosis, to shine this effortlessly, simply by being there, present to yourself. This gift to yourself is accompanied, as you live it, by an ever greater absence to this world. It is not a rejection of life, nor a rejection of your life, but the evidence of truth. No thought, no force can resist agape. Even opposition to agape is a misunderstanding of who you are in truth. This is where it all ends with the loud laugh. It cannot be otherwise. For who can need any consciousness or any world in the eternal beatitude of agape, prior to creation? The dream has been crossed. Love has experienced itself through the interaction of worlds and to the point of confinement that has been experienced. And be thankful for this confinement, whatever the torture and suffering, because it is what allowed you to live agape. Because it was the awakening that sounded and preceded the announcement of Mary. You have no choice but liberty. You have no choice in any world. Because there is no choice with agape. The agape eliminates the notion of choice, as the dream of every person, as the dream of every origin. You have never moved. The eternal being has always been there, prior to creation. Universes will pass away, creation will pass away, but you will never pass away. So I can only say, and that will be my last word, agape. I am URIEL, angel of presence and archangel of reversion, speaking through the voice of ABBA and through you. I am URIEL, angel of the presence, angel of your presence. Agape. Joy, joy, joy. through Jean-Luc Young. Les transformations. French transcript. Agape team. English translation. DeepL.com. Home revised LMF.